Good afternoon, guys. Let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us. I appreciate it. Let me go ahead. We've had some others join. Let me add the presentation link to the chat that just joined us. Let's make sure you guys, I'm sure, have been taking lots of our Wednesday PD, but just double check. Let's take a moment and make sure that you are in our Getting Started with Schoology course. We have a resource module there that will show you, that has all of these things that we've been doing that you can go through in resources. So be sure that you're there, and if you're not, we can get you in. We have put today's presentation in there as well. There won't be anything else if you're used to coming to the Build It series. We have other things, but in this one, there's nothing, just the presentation. So I'll give you just a second to let me know. I don't see anybody that saying they can't get in. So today we are going to be creating awesome practice templates. And this is being recorded right now. So just wanted to go ahead and let you know. I started it a few minutes ago, so I wouldn't forget. So of course it's going to be on our YouTube channel once it's done. So if we move too fast or you miss something, it will be there for you to go back and go back through to find it. And you can subscribe, and so you'll get alerted. You can turn on your notification button and get alerted every time that we put up a new video, which is quite often. So of course we are in line with our instructional model, the Gaston Blended. I'm sure you have seen this icon or logo. And our session goal today is how to create awesome Google Slide templates to use within Schoology for your practices. So the big idea is that Google Slide templates can be used to create rigorous learn it and practice it and evidence of learning. And so I know you all are familiar with using Google Slides presentation to create some sort of presentation for your students, but slides can be used for so much more. Like, it's ridiculous. The possibilities are truly endless. I don't have time to show you everything, but just trust me. It is simply amazing. You can create anything with some simple skills and a few tricks that I hope that you will take away from today. We hope that you will leave our session today with some good ideas how to embed this within your practices and maybe even trickle over to your learn it and evidence of learning. Especially now that we're moving into Plan A, this would be a great use of time with Schoology, which is still an expectation that we will need to be doing this when the kids are in the classroom too. It's why it's Gaston Blended. All right. So if you have attended any of our Build It series, you will recognize these two charts. Both of these charts represent different resources to deliver your learn-its and ways for your students to engage in the practices. Notice that Google Slides is on both of those. That you can use it for learning when you are giving information to the students, so the students can learn that way, or with the practice it can be an interactive activity that these activities can allow the students to engage and interact with their content. So I'm going to hand it over to Candice. And do you want me to stop presenting?
Sure, yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Candice. And next thing we are going to do, everybody gets that up, go, is share some things. So we always learn by sharing with one another and by hearing what other people are doing. So we just kind of want to get some idea of what you have been using for your practice at activities. So You can go back to the slides or to the slide 6 with those activities. Maybe you've been doing some of those, or maybe you're doing something that is not on there that you have enjoyed, your students have enjoyed, and has been successful for you. So you can just drop that in the chat, or if you would like to unmute and share, we'll take a minute or two to do that. I'm going to jump over because I can't see the chat. I don't have.
They're saying, Candice, they use it for seesaw assignments, is how they've done some practice it. Also, Edpuzzle and Flipgrid, online games, IXL, Schoology assessment tool. That's a great one, Jessica. They're starting to go Padlet, Savas, and the Schoology assessments again. And Lynn says she's been using things that she's created from scratch and games.
All right, so we've got a big variety of things that you guys have been trying. So hopefully we can add to that variety with what we're going to show you today. So of course, just to review why we want to do a practice it. We want to reinforce the skills in our Learn It sessions. We want to synthesize new knowledge for our students, encourage confidence, and build problem solving. In today's session, we're looking at specifically Google Slides and how we can use those Google assignments within Schoology to get our students engaged with the learning. So the specific templates that we're going to be showing you today are graphic organizers, digital interactive notebooks, audio-based activities, and like labeling, drag and drop type activities where students move and manipulate things on the slide based on your instructions. There were, like Christy said, there are so many options of what you can do with Google Slides, so we kind of had to rein ourselves in and narrow down to just what we could show you within our session today. So we're going to start exploring some of those examples. And the first one we're going to start with are graphic organizers. And throughout today's session, anytime that you see a picture, I think most of them, if you click on the picture, it is linked to that template, or it's linked to another slideshow that has multiple of the same template. So hopefully from today's session, you'll be able to walk away with something that you can use that's already created that you just maybe need to edit a little bit and kind of make your own. So graphic organizers specifically are a great way for students to interact with the content from the Learn It portion. They show you where your students are in their level of understanding. They can be very basic to more complicated graphic organizers based on your content, your standard, and your students' level of being able to work with computers and with the Google Slides. So on this slide, we just have a timeline, the Fraser model, so working with vocabulary, a Venn diagram, which we could probably all think of a way we could use a Venn diagram right off. It's a very popular graphic organizer. And then like a timeline event. But again, if you click and open, and if you click on any of those pictures, it will open up a slideshow with multiple different examples for you to be able to look at and hopefully take those, customize them, and use them for yourself in your classroom. So after graphic organizers, we are going to also look at digital interactive notebooks. as a way to organize your information for your students. And this can be kind of like a one-stop shop to house your information for students. Kind of a little asterisk with this one. I know we're focusing on Practice It today, but digital interactive notebooks can include your Learn It, your Practice It, and your evidence of learning all in one. But these have a lot of potential, so we definitely didn't want to skip over them as a possibility for what you can use. So again, on this slide, you will see a couple different examples. If you came to our Build It series, Practice It, this forces vocabulary is one that was shown there. And then we also kind of included some ones that are kind of blank templates. Both of these are more blank templates where you could take that template, make a copy, and then make it your own for what you would want students to gain and to get out of the lesson and the learning plan that you are creating. So within those digital interactive notebooks, you could even put, say, graphic organizers. You could put drag and drop activities. You can put, like I said, with the Learn It portion, it could have maybe a reading in there where students would read and then do their Practice It activity within the notebook. So a great way to assign that. It's all in one, keeps students involved, and you can also up that level of engagement because it can be colorful. You can add icons. You can add lots of multimedia to make it interesting for students and keep them engaged with what you are learning. So again, all of these templates are linked here. So if you just click on them, they will open up so that you can take a look and see which one maybe works. You can get some ideas based on some of these of, okay, I don't teach, say, forces in motion, but I do teach something else, and this is how I can maybe use this idea and work it out so that I can work that in with my students. All right, and next up, Christy is going to show drag and drop activities. So I am going to stop presenting and pass it back over to her.
Yes, with multiple screens, I get a little confused. I'm like, where do I look? So give me a moment. And let me just tell you, if you can't tell from the smile on my face, I love Google, especially slides and drawings. So let me move you guys back over here. So just to let you know, when I look this way, that's where your faces are, and I like to see you. So when I'm talking to the little green dot, it doesn't help me. So I'm not multitasking when I look over here. I just want to see your smiling faces or your smiling bubble that's there because you don't have your camera on, which is fine. I wouldn't have mine on either. Okay, just a little blurb. So Candice just showed you some great activities with your graphic organizers. And if you had the moment to click on that, you will see she put all these graphic organizers into one slide. And so you could have them and use. And the digital interactive notebooks, those are my favorites. I like to think of those as back to when we did those books, like the interactive books where you cut and pasted and made everything. I remember doing one of like weather. So making things digital. So I want to show you now some ELA drag and drop activities. Now these are, I feel like Candice's were more 3-5, not that you couldn't use it and definitely simplify it for your K2 babies. However, these are starting like at the kindergarten level, like brown bear, brown bear. I'm just going to click on this one really quick. And as you can see, it's from the book that I know that they read. And the students will read this. And so you actually could add some audio, which we'll talk about later, and put in here. And the students will click and drag. That's why it's called click and drag, the right one that they see a red bird. Also, we have one of my favorite things to do was poetry. And here is one that's winter magnetic poetry. And all the students have to do is click and drag the words to form a poem. And we're going to show you all how to make these. There's like I said, a few skill sets you need that I know you already have. You just don't know it, and then some tricks. And this will become an excellent template for students to practice making sentences. So it doesn't even have to be a poem, but just doing things like that. Another one, let me close those two so I don't get so many, is you can see down here with the words. So maybe the words that you're working on this week, if they are, AR words or the at family students, you can put these in multiple slides and the students click and drag to practice making the word. Kind of makes me think of that rainbow writing. So that would be like one of the things that they did. And then I had the word sorts. So if you're sorting AT words, IT words, you could do that on this one. The next slide is math, drag and drop activities. And these range from anywhere from creating arrays when you're working on multiplication to creating those patterns. Don't we love those? The AAB or the ABAB or ABC patterns with students. And so they would click and drag on these icons to make the pattern. What they're used to doing with the Unifix blocks or the bears, all those things that they haven't been able to do. And I'm not sure what all of our regulations and guidelines are going to be with using materials. So this still might be a great way for them to practice those skills. Also thinking about graphing, using this picture right here down, if you want to click on it and make it larger with the snowman and simple counting, how many carrots were on the snowman and how many buttons and then how many twigs for the arms. And then the students make a graph, and then you could follow up with some activities. How many had this one? Who had more? How many with less? So from kindergarten all the way up to like second and third grade math, doing some subtraction. And then of course those wonderful 10 frames, getting kids to see the number sense with the tens and making tens and those combinations. So they're just clicking and dragging the black dots like they would on the frames that you had with the red and yellow counters, just clicking and dragging them over and counting. So great practice activities that will help support our content. Then if we move into slide 15, this was one of my favorites. I taught second grade my entire time, which I loved, is we always had the number of the day. And I believe that the number of the day is pretty big in K2. I think they drop it off in 3-5. But you could always tweak this because I don't think it would hurt any student K5 to be able to compose and decompose numbers in the larger sense and reminding them and keeping that skill fresh, like kind of like a spiral review. But it has, I'm going to click on this one because there's 2 slides where when we're learning the tally marks and then learning it in word form, expanded form, how they hop on the number line to count and add and subtract. Also the fact family, that big part about the 10 less, 10 more, 1 more, 1 less, and place value, which is huge in decomposing and composing numbers. Then you could take it up another step with the 10 frames using the Unifix cubes, the whole and the parts, comparing the numbers. Oh, there's that alligator that we don't talk about. But the greater than, less than, helping students see that. So let me close that out. And then, of course, that wonderful hundreds board. That is all important, that students know their way around. And this has number lines and parts that they can work through and do as practicing it with their numbers. So there's some great templates with math. And then after the math one comes the audio-based activities, which this honestly can be applied to your ELA or math, but having your voice on there or actually having students to do it too. They can record themselves saying the words. However, I think it's easier in Schoology because they have to do a little bit of uploading it to the thing. So maybe this is just for you right now, but they can hear you saying the words and then they can practice it themselves because you guys are working with a small group, but they still need to hear your voice. Or there could be a sorting activity over here on the right where it's the short A and the long A. And they listen to you say it and they have to pick which one is the short A or the long A. And I have also linked the audio recorders that I use that will drop it straight into Drive. So then you can just insert the audio that way. So it would be easy for you, but it might be a little bit harder for our smaller children to do. But it definitely could be taught for them to be able to record themselves and insert it into a slide for them to turn back into you. So that was a quick rundown of, like Candice said, there were a ton. When I say a ton of templates that we could have used, that we had to narrow it down because I was going to just drop them all in here. And Candice like, no, it'll be too much. So do you guys have any questions so far before we move into the next part? And that's where we're going to build one together. You guys are quiet. Are you looking at all of these? No questions, Lynn. Oh, thanks. Not yet, right? Yes, there is lots to look at. And trust me, thank you, Candice, for reining me in because I was like going to give you like 30 slides of things because I do believe your teachers, you are extremely busy. I remember that you are balancing 100 things, wearing 100 different hats, and plus now Plan A is getting ready to start. So you have lots of things on your mind. And I would rather you take this and make it your own because with Google, you can simply make a copy and then tweak it to be maybe the snap words you're working on right now. Real easy instead of starting from scratch. But I want to be able to show you because you may have an idea and have some time that you want to create one from scratch because it is so simple. It's a few skills. So let's see. Oh, Kelly, it's I can share that with you. I will. I'll send it to you, but it's more than 30 slides. It's like a whole, I might give you a sneak peek at the end. So, yeah, ooh, that's what I'll say. All right. So, we've got about 13 of you in here today. So, what I was wanting you guys to do is I was going to create just starting with a math one, simply because I think with me making a math template for you to use, and I'm not picking math over ELA just simply because math wants me to have all the elements that you'll need to practice versus me just doing, if we did a poetry one, I would show you two things and then you wouldn't see the rest of it. So I was thinking about starting with the math, but you could do your own because I want this to be I do, you do. And so you can be practicing it. So if you think of an ELA that you wanted to start, and then when I get to that part where you're adding things, that's absolutely fine. So before I show you, I would like you to go ahead and open up. If you just literally click the plus sign, a new tab, and click slides.new, it will open up a brand new slide for you. And I'll put that in the chat for you. So that way you won't have to start digging. And this is what you should get. So I'm going to give you just a few minutes, but I'm going to speak to you for a second while you're doing that. The one thing I want you to really learn today is that everything that you're learning in Google Slides can be transferred to Google Drawings. There's just a few tweaks between drawings and slides. And the main difference is with slides, notice that I can have multiple slides. I could have 100 slides if I needed to, or I could have 2. With drawings, with Google Drawings, you can only have the 1. And that's important to know. So if you don't need so many slides. You could redo this in drawings. Now we're focusing just on slides, but I want you to remember that because it can be transferred and there's some things in drawings that may be better suited for what you need. And the other thing is do not forget, ever, 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 and you may already know this, but this area, the gray area on the side, can be used, and please utilize it. If you've noticed while you were clicking through all the examples, they had stuff on the gray areas. Now, just a disclaimer, when I go to present, and I'm going to do that for you real quick, the gray goes away. But you guys, if these are practice it activities for your students, you're not going to need to put it in present mode. So use the gray area. Don't think that everything has to fit on that white slide. All right. Do you guys have a new Google slide up and ready to go? Don't see any questions in the chat. Thank you, Jessica. Yep. All right. So the first thing I want to show you, and I've got to get my notes because I wanted to make sure I didn't forget anything, is we need to design it first. And the first thing that I do when I'm getting ready to design it is, I don't know about you, and this may not bother you, but it bothers me with having the big click to add a title and click to add a subtitle. I know what I need in my brain, and that's got to go away. So I'm going to do the 2-finger tap, or it could be a right click on your mouse. And I'm going to get up this menu and I'm going to change the layout. So again, that is either the 2-finger or right click on your mouse, or you can go up here to the toolbar and click layout. And I'm going to select blank. And just if you didn't know that that was there, notice if you are creating a presentation for something, it can already be pre-formatted for you. So I'm going to go blank so I have a blank slate to get started. And then I like to go, okay, because I'm that person, my classroom was the same way. I have to go, okay, this has got to be pretty. So it can't just be white. Now, I know that time is a big thing, but I'm going to just find a quick background to go in the back of it. So I'm going to go to insert and image. No, I'm not. Stop. I'm going to do the same thing besides layout. I'm going to click background. My bad. I was getting ahead of myself. And I'm going to choose an image. So I'm going to search for a blue background. For whatever reason, I think blue is math in my head. I don't know why, but that's just one of the things I do. Now, quick reminder or just things to think about and consider. When you're searching for a background, you don't want it to be so bright that it's going to mask what's going to be on there. So I look for things that are light, not bright and vivid. And you'll see as you're going, this is just in my experience. So like this very pale one, I'm going to click on that and insert it. Done. So it's cute, gives it a little bit more than the cold white, but it's not overpowering. I know some of us like the vivid colors and the patterns. That can be hard on the eyes. So just keep that in mind. The other thing that you could do, and I'm just going to create a new slide to show you the difference, is I'm going to change my layout. If I go to insert an image and get a background, my bad, search the web for a blue background. Let's say I really like this one, but it just was too much. First, he's got to learn how to spell. Let's say I really like this pattern one maybe. But just from experience, I know that that's going to be a lot But notice it came in as an image. So I'm kind of resizing it. You do have, let's say I just have to have this image. While you're on the image, you can format it and I can make adjustments and I could change the transparency to where it's still there, but then my words and text boxes and things that they're going to click and drag will be more evident. So if you have to have something that's like that, that is another option. Just wanted to share that with you. But I'm going to stick with my background, just plain and Jane. Any questions so far how I got a background? I don't see any. And guys, you can always unmute if you need to. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is let me look back at that one. I want to kind of mimic it, the math, which is right here, the number of the day. So let me open that up. Maybe. There we go. So it's showing that I have some boxes. And we're going to do like tally marks, word form, and the number sentence. So then here's where I'm just going to start with creating text boxes. Or I could do shapes and put a text box over it. So that's up here in the toolbar. So I'm going to create a shape and I want it to have rounded edges just because I like that. And I'm going to click and drag. And so maybe this is where they're going to put their tally mark answers. So I'm now going to insert some text and put tally marks. Uh-oh, lost you guys. There they are. Okay. And remember, when you're in a text box, you can highlight it. You can change the font, the color, the size. Remember, I'm not going to spend so much time on this because we don't have enough time, but just remember those things on the toolbar. You can change the color up here. You can change the field color. You can do lots of things. All right, now I'm going to need another one for the word. It's going to be in word form. So I can do one of two things. I can go back and insert another shape, or I could take the easy way and hit copy and paste. And voila. So remember those skills, the copying and pasting, because then at least this way, it is both the same size and I don't have to worry about it. It's already been pre-filled for what color I wanted. So now I just need to do another text box, or I can do this. I love to do this, copy, paste. Now I've got it twice. And now I just put word form. So I'm just basically making text boxes and shapes, putting them where I want them. Now, there was a number line in there. Well, I could sit here and draw little numbers and put underneath, or I could insert an image. So I could go find a number line. And it looks like here's one. So when I click on it, I just insert it. And it's really small. I don't necessarily like it, but it'll do for today because I don't want to spend more time on the aesthetics of it. I could definitely do that. I also can put a border around it. I did that by clicking on it and clicking on the pencil where it says border color. And then I changed the weight of it the one beside of it with the 1 point all the way to the 24 point. And I'm going to control copy and paste my text box again to say number line. So I'm using those skills to kind of save me time as well. So I don't have to recreate it, change the size, change the color, the font. It's already what I want. So keep those in mind. And notice when I did that, I get a red line. That helps me to see if it's straight. So for those of you that really matters, watch for that red line. It'll help you keep things centered. Now, the other one is like a number sentence. Let's see. I did the same thing, copy, control, and gonna add me a text box again and put number sentence. So we've got shapes, we've got a number line and tally marks. Now the rest of it is done by the same way. And I've got a lot of other things to get to. So I want to make sure that you understand the big parts of it. So now I've got to add tally marks because my students can't come in and make tally marks, right? So I may need to make things over here in the gray area. If you'll remember, I'm gonna drag this on real quick. We had these. These are little individual, just like little tally marks. And these are over here in the gray area. So I could do that by going back and inserting an image and looking for like a tally mark. Here were individual ones that they can't separate, so I don't want to use that one. Sometimes you can't find what you need, which I can't. So I am going to create one using the line tool. Or I could do a scribble. Scribble and then make it much larger. And then there's me a tally mark. And I'm going to click it and drag it over to the side.
Christy.
Yes.
I wonder, could you use one of those where the tally marks were together and crop it? Do you want to show them that?
Ooh, I can. I absolutely can. Thanks, Candice. So let me pull that one back over here. So if you have one, like right here is a set. I'm going to copy it from this presentation, which you can do because you have this. And I'm going to paste it. And that's my 5 because you know they have to go 1, 2, 3. When they get to the 5th, they do that. That's part of them learning. So the other one, what Candice was talking about, was taking one of the, nope. You're talking about when I inserted the picture.
Yeah, when you searched for it and there were some that were together.
Yes, because those have already been separated. So when I insert from the web right here, taking this one, and I'm going to insert it. So it's really large. So they have the single one right here, and they have the 5 one that I need. So what I can do to crop it is you've got it clicked on. It's blue, you can tell. I'm going to go up here to the crop tool, which is, no, that's the mask image. Maybe it's the click. Okay, that's it. So notice how it's blue. When I double click on the image, I get a black line around it. Try that for me. So I'll say that again, when I click on an image, I get the original blue line. But when I double click on the image, I get the crop line. And so there, make sure you click on the black, not the blue. I'm going to click and drag all the way to the single and then hit click off of it. So I'll try that again for you. So this can be with any image, not just the tally marks. When you double click on the image, you get this dark black line, and I can pull from the black line all the way over and then click off of it, because you see how this is kind of fuzzy and transparent, and this is what is vivid and out there and bright. So when I click off of it, I have the single tally mark. And then that is really way too big. All I need to do is resize it. So I'm just going to click on the corner. This is just a lesson in any kind of cropping. When you click on the corner pieces, it keeps it in proportion. So if I drag it down this way, I'm getting there. Still just a little big. And then now it would fit. Are there any questions about that? How I cropped that and then resized it. Because now I'm going to show you, well, Christy, that's only one tally mark. Ha ha ha. Here's one of the tricks. Yes, Lisa, you were right. You were already thinking where I was going. So that is only one tally mark. So if you remember SMART, I'm sure, how could we forget, right? Unless you're new to the profession. You had a cloning feature. Well, you don't necessarily have a cloning feature in here. However, if you copy, paste, and stack it on top of each other, it works. So, for example, I'm going to click on my tally mark. I'm going to copy it and paste it. See, now I have two, but I'm going to stack it on top. So now it looks like one, but when the students click and drag, oh, look, it looks like there's more that are there. So you can do that for as many times as you need it. So if you know they're not going to ever need more than 4, because on the 5th one they should be doing this, you would only need to put 4 there. So the quick way to do that is after you've copied it, this is another little trick, is now I'm going to do it again. Instead of hitting paste, I've got 2 stacked on top of each other. I'm now going to copy and paste that one, and now I just doubled it because it's copying the one underneath. So if you have to make a lot of something, stack them for a few, and then now that I have 8 there, I think I'm going to copy that whole set. Copy, paste, and now I've doubled that whole thing, and now there's 16. Does that make sense? Just little tricks that really help. I would do the same thing with this 5 tally mark. So right here, I would copy and then paste it. And then I'm going to line it up very carefully. So there's 2 there, you see. So I'm going to copy it again, copy, paste, and now I've doubled it and have 4. Then I would do the same thing, copy, paste, and now I've just doubled my double. And it works a whole lot quicker instead of you going it, if you needed 20, doing it 20 times. Oh my goodness, it's 1:42 and there's so much left to show you. Okay, so let's review what we've done. We have created shapes for boxes for the students to mark in. So now, as you can see, they're going to drag their tally mark over for whatever number today's number is, and there's still some left. Now, what about word form? I'm clicking in there and there's nothing. Well, what you have to do now is add a text box. However, we don't want to do that just yet. So just hang tight. Same thing with the number sentence. But what about my number line? I need them to hop. Well, you know how we draw those little lines? Well, in this one right here, there are some already done. So you can copy those and do the same thing with the tally marks. And there they are. So they could, oh, it looks a little short. Have no fear. You can stretch it out to meet your number line. And all they did was add that from the curved area. Nope, they did the shape right here, arrows. This one right here. And then stretched it out. So you could copy that one, but if you don't have that around, just look at your tools up here in the shapes. And I also could make that a little thicker too, if I needed to. So I'm going to pull that back. I would repeat the same process because I need more than one. So I'd copy it, paste it, and then line it back up. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to show you before we do the last step that puts it in place. Because right now, if I gave this to my students, guess what they could do? Does anybody have an idea? Yep, absolutely, Lisa. They can click, they can move things around, and they're going to be like, what? It's not right. I didn't do anything. Of course, they're going to say they didn't do anything. And so we've got to set this. So I know, please forgive me because this is not the prettiest by any stretch of the means, but because our time is short, we're going to pretend that this is exactly what I need because this is the most important part. So let's pretend that I have got everything ready. I need to give this to the students because this is what they're going to work on. Here's what you have to do. Here, it's not complicated, but it's just a few steps. I need to download this as a picture or an image. So when I bring it in as the background, nothing will move. Now remember, what did I tell you? The gray stuff will not be downloaded. That will stay movable. It's what's on the slide that we don't want them to move because we want them to move the stuff in the gray area. So this is really simple. All I'm going to do is go over to File. And if you come down, not quite midway, and you click Download, there are many different ways that you can download this. I'm going to pick the PNG. JPEG is fine too, but I just always choose the PNG. And it's going to download for you. You may want to name it today's number, just so you'll be able to find it. And I'm going to put template because this is the template. And just a quick reminder, don't do this until you're finished with how you want it to look. Because now when I bring it in, it's an image and anything I put on top of it can be moved. So if you wanted to add your cute little Bitmoji or some clip art, get all that done first. And it would be very cute if you had a little Bitmoji or some pictures on here. I just didn't have time. You would bring them in the same way. Insert image, search the web, unless you had something in your drive or on your computer. and you would just insert it, put it in. Guys, I'm sure you know how to do that because you have been designing and creating slides for a long time. So now that I have it perfect, I am now going to click on, for me, this is the best way. I just create a new slide. So notice my other one is still up there because I want to see it. And no, I do not create a new slide. I'm sorry, my bad. I duplicate the slide because I need the stuff in the gray. And then I delete everything. And now I'm going to go to change my background. Remember, up in the top toolbar, I'm going to hit background and I'm going to hit choose image. But this is when I downloaded, so I'm going to have to upload it. And there it is, today's numbers template. I'm going to bring it in. And I'm going to hit done. Now, guess what? None of these things can move. None. So the finishing touch is now I need to add, well, with the tally marks, I don't need to add anything because they're just drag and tally marks. However, with the word form, they're going to have to type something out. So I'm going to insert my text box and I'm going to put it over here, just like that. And I could go ahead and format it for how big I think it needs to be. Change the font. And I'm going to, now it doesn't look like it's there, but as soon as I click, I've got my text box. Same thing with the number sentence. They're going to have to type that out. So I'm going to insert a text box, change the size. I want it to be a little bit bigger, and I could change my font. And so it looks like nothing's there, but when the student gets this copy, they will click on it and the text box is already there for them to type. Now, yes, Kelly, that's what I was going to say. What do you need for me to show you again? Okay, so what I did was, let me just delete the whole thing. All right, so here was my ready to go template. See, all I did was I duplicated the slide. So if you click on File, no, I always do the two finger. There it is, Edit. I hit Duplicate. Or you can do the two finger or the right click. And now I just highlighted everything on here. So I got nothing but my background. The only reason I did that, because you could have just created a new slide, is that my stuff in the gray over here was there. If I create a new slide, I just wanted to show you this, why I'm not doing the new slide and then bringing it in. There's nothing over here in the gray. So I would rather go ahead and keep, because if you've got a lot of stuff over here, you don't want to have to spend time recopying all that. So it was just easier for me to duplicate the slide and then delete all at one time. Let me show you that one more time. All I did was highlight everything on here. Just click and drag and then hit delete or backspace. And so once I've got my plain background, because remember, that's how I started, we are going to go up to background and choose the image because we downloaded it. And there it is, the template. And done. So now nothing can be moved because it is a picture. Once I have my picture in now, nothing can be moved. I've got to make text boxes for things that the students need to type in or put numbers in. Now, I do not have to do it for tally marks because they can click and drag the tally marks. But for word form, they have to write. So I'm going to insert text box. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the number sentence. Insert text box. Yeah, you're welcome, Kelly. And so I know it looks like nothing has changed, but when the students click, they get the text box. All right. So this, real quickly, it's 1:53. I am trying. This is what you're going to actually put. Let me go back. I'm going to delete the first slide because remember, that's the one that I can move everything. Or you could take the new slide and put it in a new presentation if you want to keep this going, because maybe you add things to it. So it's up to you. But for today, I'm going to just delete that one. Don't forget to give it a title. So I've got today's number template. So this is how I'm going to add it into Schoology. And I'm going to go a little fast here because you guys should know that it's with the Google assignment. So let me get in my sandbox course. So all I'm going to do is add a material, which is an assignment. Fill out all of this. Give any instructions. You know, you could put a video here. You can add text for them. And then I'm going to do the Google Drive assignment app. Find this, which is today's numbers template. And I'm going to attach it because guess what? It's going to make a copy for each student. And then I'm going to hit create. Oops, it's going to need a category. Not bad. And so now, here it is, and each student gets a copy. Now that was a lot. This is being recorded, and I'm going to make a couple quick videos that show you how to do specific things. However, let me hop back over and look at our presentation for today. I have linked all the things that I covered with you today on how to do with a slide is in this on slide 18. This is a Google slide cheat sheet, which has quick little GIFs for you and everything that's covered. Changing your background image, inserting word art, inserting text, adding pictures, video, text boxes, shapes, arrows, anything you need is right here with little quick videos that show you how to do it. So I've added that in because I knew we would be going fast today and I want to respect your time. Also, if you have trouble getting it into Schoology, we made a video. It is here on our YouTube channel, but it's also here of how to make a template. And we have thrown in a few extras just for you because we know students need some downtime. And what better way than to have them play some word building and strategy games like Scrabble or Boggle or Battleship or a little bit about me. And then there's another game. Candice, I didn't look at that one. What's the Let's Play?
It's basically a board game template. So if you would go in and put your own questions in there and you can roll the die and then students would have like little icons as they moved along and progressed through the game.
Sweet. So these are just a few extras we found for you. And I just wanted to say that you can create any of these using that Google Slides right here if you have any trouble. It's the key, and remember, is building it first and then downloading it as an image. So nothing can move, so your students won't delete everything. All right, Candice, I'm going to stop sharing when I figure out where I'm at. There we go.
Okay. All right. So we are going to go into takeaways from today's session. So keep in mind we want to create our practices to provide opportunities for feedback whenever possible. So if students turn in that template that they have done all of their maneuvering and changing to, provide feedback based on that. These options today hopefully give you lots of ideas of ways that you can vary your practice at activities so that you can increase interest and engagement and get your students involved in what they're doing. And then just a reminder to make sure that our practices flow out of your learnets as well as they would if you were with your kids every day, which you guys are going to be soon. But just kind of make sure that everything flows together within your learning plan and still, of course, meets the standard that you are working to achieve.